It's after dark, and especially after the rain, the best time for slugs. We need to check the beds and see if our plants aren't already being eaten somewhere. Let's do it!
Alright guys, this is it. Slugs. Let's shine some light on them.
Slugs and Spanish slugs are among the most significant pests of vegetables. Their prevalence varies primarily due to mild winters and due amount of rainfall. Beetle slugs can be exhausting. The invasive Spanish slug causes significant damage. Today, we'll focus on slugs and explore various methods to effectively control them in your garden. Did you know, for example, that the fight against slugs can be started already in the early spring, as soon as the soil thaws? Let's dive in. Slugs and Spanish slugs have soft bodies without shells and muscular foot for movement and produce characteristic mucus that aids mobility and prevents dehydration. They have specialized organ for grinding food, allowing them to consume a wide range of plant material such as vegetables and fruits, as well as decomposing organic matter, excrement and dead animals. They can also be cannibalistic, feeding on dead slugs or their eggs. An adult slug can consume up to 1 kilogram of plant material per season. The great grey slug is beneficial as it occasionally preys on small slug species, such as the highly destructive Spanish slug. Slugs can vary in color, but light grey with black stripes is typical. Spanish slugs are usually rusty orange to brown. In terms of size, common slugs measure about 12 centimeters, 4.5 inches. The great grey slug can reach up to 15 centimeters, 6 inches, and smaller species are around 2 centimeters, 1 inch. The invasive Spanish slug can grow to about 10 centimeters, 4 inches in adulthood. The Spanish slug is the most problematic. This invasive species has spread across Europe in 1950. It's the orange to brown slug you're most likely to encounter. It's highly voracious, resilient, and reproduces quickly. Besides the Spanish slug, you may also encounter other species like the great grey slug. These are common but typically don't cause as much damage as the Spanish slug. Snails, such as the common white snail, are significantly less voracious and rarely overpopulate. Snails eat slug eggs, helping to reduce their numbers. You can certainly leave snails in your garden, as they generally don't cause significant damage. Do you think slugs are slow? You might be surprised. Slugs can move relatively quickly. In ideal conditions, like moist soil after the rain, they can travel up to 100 meters per hour. Believe it or not, they can cross your entire garden in one night, including climbing over fences, curbs, or raised garden beds. Slugs can enter gardens in various ways. Moist and shady environments, such as neglected areas like dense shrubbery, nearby meadows, or neighboring gardens, are ideal for them. You can also inadvertently introduce them through purchased compost, soil, or seedlings, either as adults or more commonly as eggs. Let's look at the life cycle of slugs to understand how to effectively combat them, not only during the season when they are abundant, but also earlier. Eggs hatch in 2 to 4 weeks during the season, while those late in autumn overwinter and hatch in spring, March to April. Eggs are white, round, and 2 to 3 millimeters, 0.1 inch, in diameter. They are laid in mold soil under stone, mulch, or leaves. Each individual can lay up to 400 eggs per season, usually in a cluster of 20 to 30. This typically produces 2 generations per year. Young slugs hatch as very small versions of adults and immediately begin feeding on plant material such as young seedlings. In mild climates with sufficient spring and summer moisture, they reach sexual maturity in 2 to 3 months, for example from April to June. Adult slugs lay eggs for the next generation. Their lifespan is typically 1 year, but some survive the first season and winter frosts, living up to 3 years. Slugs are part of the garden ecosystem and you'll never completely eliminate them. You should not want to, as they have a role in nature. Slugs are efficient decomposers of organic matter, acting as nature's garbage disposals. They return nutrition like nitrogen to the soil, supporting ecosystem health. Slugs are not only decomposers but also food for many other animals, which are more or less beneficial. Snakes, gnats, toads, frogs, hedgehogs, moths, and various birds like owls, thrushes, blackbirds, as well as ducks, geese, and chickens feed on slugs. Slugs primarily target leafy vegetables like lettuces, radishes, or kohlrabi. They also love brassicas, especially cabbage and kale. Other favorites include zucchini, pumpkins, beans, young strawberry shoots, or other low-growing fruits. Among flowers, they are attracted to hostas, African marigolds, and marigolds. The presence of slugs in the garden is relatively easy to recognize. You may notice characteristic slimy trails on leaves, soil, or structures where slugs move. You've probably experienced this. You sow seeds, wait, and the newly sprouted plants are eaten. Last season, I had to reseed carrots multiple times. Initially, I thought the seeds had dried out, but the trails revealed slugs and Spanish slugs were largely to blame. Young seedlings with only a few tree leaves are tempting prey for slugs. Unfortunately, for small plants, this damage often means the end. Plants show chewed leaf edges and irregular holes in leaves, ranging from a few millimeters to several centimeters, 0.1 inch to 1 to 2 inches. Leaves can be entirely consumed if slugs attack persistently over several nights. Fruits in contact with the ground or easily accessible, such as zucchini or strawberries, may have bite marks and start to rot. Young slugs, hatched from overwintered eggs in the soil, become voracious and active in spring from March 15, once the soil warms to 5 to 10 degrees Celsius, 41 to 50 Fahrenheit, and moisture levels are high. Young slugs reach adulthood and begin feeding and reproducing intensively from May 15, when temperatures rise and humidity is high. Slugs peak in activity from July 15 to the end of August. From eggs laid in summer, new slugs hatch from August 15 to the end of September. Slugs seek egg-laying sites from October 1 to the end of November. The foundation of slug control is prevention. By adopting certain habits and maintaining them, you can create an environment where slugs struggle to thrive, thus reducing their numbers. Some gardens will find this easier, while others face great challenges. Here's a list of methods that will help in any garden. Many people don't believe it, but don't underestimate it. Treat your garden as a cohesive ecosystem where slugs have their place, but don't overpopulate, and other creatures can keep them in check. Natural predators of slugs include hedgehogs, frogs, slowworms, birds, especially blackbirds and starlings, and even snails. Try creating a hedgehog shelter or installing birdhouses. If you have space, chickens or ducks, especially Indian runner ducks, love slugs. Consider companion planting with plants that slugs dislike, such as lavender, sage, mint, thyme, parsley, chives, and other alliums, especially garlic. Timely removal of hiding spots, such as yellow, rotting or wilted lower plant leaves, overgrown weeds or debris, reduces places where slugs hide during the day. Avoid leaving unnecessary items around beds where slugs could hide. Timely harvesting prevents fruits from lingering within slugs' reach. Try vertical gardening for plant slugs, frequently target. Check out our video on growing zucchini on supports when fruits hang in the air. Regular inspections are the most basic preventive measure. Check beds daily for signs of slug activity. Making this a habit not only brings joy but allows you to multitask, check plants, remove weeds, water, harvest and enjoy your garden. Early morning watering has two benefits. The soil dries out during the day, making it less moist at night and less attractive to slugs. And you can combine it with collecting slugs still present from the previous night. Plus, mornings in the garden are beautiful. If slugs are a recurring problem and you've noticed they devour your zucchini, pumpkins or cucumbers after sowing, I recommend pre-growing seedlings. Pre-grown seedlings are more resilient and easier to protect after planting. For sowing crop slugs love, like carrots, choose more protected spots, such as raised beds or areas away from dense shrubbery. Materials with rough or dry surfaces like gravel, pebbles or wood chips can slow slugs but won't stop them. Consider these when designing your garden, such as for pathways.
When someone tells you that slug doesn't like gravel, this dude is having a blast. Look at that. He's done 10 clicks today and he doesn't mind at all. He's perfectly happy. So when you want to put gravel paths around your garden beds and you think it's gonna help, it won't help a shit. Look at the dude rolling in the middle of the gravel road. He's totally enjoying it. He doesn't care. So, yeah.
On the other hand, some mulch types like fresh grass clippings can serve as hiding spots for slugs. I personally mulch only with mature compost and rarely use other materials for this reason. Manual collection is one of the most effective and simple methods to reduce slugs without chemicals. The best time is in the evening or early morning after rain, when slugs are most active. Grab a headlamp, bucket and gloves and check the beds. Collection is effective if new waves of slugs are constantly arriving from outside. We don't have many slugs in our garden now, but when we moved and established this garden, the first season was a slug invasion. I remember being frustrated as they ate everything. In the summer, instead of watching TV, we'd go out with headlamps every evening to collect slugs. Petr mainly handled the removal. His favorite method is skewering them on a sharpened stick. He says it's human and quick, avoiding the need to drown them in salt or boiling water. A skewered slug is instantly dead and won't crawl out of the bucket. Of course, if you don't want to kill them, you can relocate them far from the garden after collection. Later, I discovered that as soon as the soil thaws, you can find and remove eggs. Check around bed edges and other hiding spots. Now we have slugs in reasonable numbers, even though they come from a neighboring neckled plot. Since it's far from our beds, we just leave them there, even on the compost. Slugs are most active at night, early morning, and especially after rain when the environment is moist. During the day, they usually hide. If it rains during the day, you'll also find them as moisture aids their movement via mucus. Slugs hide in moist, shady spots in the garden. Spanish slugs in particular can squeeze into incredibly tight spacing during heat, making it seem like they emerge from pavement or soil. Look in crevices under mulch, leaves, stones, pots, boards or plastic sheets. Also check dense vegetation near compost around irrigation system, as these provide moisture and safe hiding spots. For freshly planted seedlings, try protective core made of plastic, which you can buy or improvise from cut PET bottles. These create a barrier that slows slugs. Combine with granules sprinkled around seedlings. You can make slug traps at home. The famous beer trap is popular in the Czech Republic. Find a deep container and bury it in the ground. Fill it about 3/4 with beer and wait for the scent to attract slugs. They drink, fall it and drown. Any cheap beer works, or you can use a mix of water and yeast. Check the trap regularly, remove drowned slugs, refill beer as needed, and ensure pets or children can access it. Another option is a damp board places or lint near a bed's edge. Slugs gather under it in the morning, making them easy to collect. Personally, the board method didn't work well for us, and the beer trap was only moderately effective. If you opt in for store-bought traps with specialized bait solutions, they are reportedly 20 times more effective than beer traps. They protect for up to a month and don't attract pets. Dead slugs typically decompose inside the trap, so you don't need to remove them. The general downside of baited traps is that they attract slugs from a wide area, which may not be desirable depending on your situation. Slug granules are widely used. I recommend choosing those based on ferric phosphate, which are safe for pets and wildlife. Slugs find them tasty but aren't overly attracted, and they reliably eliminate them. Parasitic nematodes are beneficial microorganisms that target slugs. They actively seek out and affect slugs in the soil, causing their death within days. They are an effective, eco-friendly method that doesn't harm plants, pets, or nature. Apply them during the growing season, spring to autumn, by watering into moist soil, ideally in the evening. Nematodes are inactive in the winter. Consider keeping chickens or ducks, especially Indian runner ducks, which are carnivores and love slugs. Like all poultry, they also eat greenery, so your garden must be adapted for them. Use mobile poultry fencing and provide a water source, ideally a pond. We don't have experience with this, but if you do, we'd love to hear about it in the comments. Mechanical barriers like raised bed edges or broken thorny branches hinder slug access to plants and make capture easier. Expect them to slow slugs rather than stop them completely. Conductive copper tape or wire with low voltage, for example for car battery, gives slugs a mild shock, deterring them. Installation is complex, requiring suitable bed edge and safe setup for low voltage, 9 to 24 volt. Netting can also be an effective solution against slugs, especially those entering beds or the garden from outside. You can install shade netting on fences or fine insect netting directly on garden beds. Among 4 remedies, nothing against our ancestors. Wisdom. You can try coffee grounds or garlic extract. If you like experimenting, explore other alternative slug control methods. However, their effectiveness may be significantly lower or difficult to apply. For example, eggshells, often recommended, don't stop slugs in my experience. From our experience, a combination of methods works best. Primarily, keep beds clean, meaning promptly compost plant debris. For mild infestations, collect slugs manually. If that's not your preference, use natural granules, parasitic nematodes, or professional slug traps. All these methods are gentle to plants and nature. Hi, I'm Marketa from Handilio, and I've been gardening for over 13 years. I share my experience in every video which Petr and I carefully prepare for you. With us, you'll grow your harvest effortlessly and without chemicals. No moon trial and error, give it a try. June is here, and with it comes the peak of the gardening season. Perhaps you're wondering what's best to sow now. In this video, I'll show you what you can sow and plant in June to keep your garden beds full and ensure a steady supply of fresh vegetables. So go watch it.